again, the big emphasis for us here at the Sheriff's Office is to continue to pass on to the public and the community, please listen to the warnings. That is what's going to make this a very, very successful operation. Small pets, if you have large animals, we have resources for that. If you look at our Facebook page or the Sheriff's website, there are links to those people for the larger animals. But again, please just heed the warnings, get prepared. If you are in an area that gets a warning, please have everything ready to go, because when the orders come out, those are very rapidly moving events. So again, I just want to thank the community for helping us with this being very successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is U.S. Forest Service Supervisor and Agency Administrator Dean Gould.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Just want to share a few thoughts with you concerning this incident. Over the past number of years, we've certainly had our share of challenges on this force, haven't we? Aspen, French, Rough, Railroad, Ferguson, all those incidents were remarkable in their own right. The Creek Fire, certainly starting out the most aggressively of any of those. This one's in a class a bit by itself. At least it has been the past couple days. I've no doubt that just as we did in those past incidents, we're going to get through this one together as well. I'm certain of that. But there are a couple things that I do want to emphasize. As the sheriff had just briefed us on, the significance and importance of you please working with all local agencies, notably the Sheriff's Office, in terms of those advisories, evacuation warnings, being prepared to leave when that call is made, should it come to your particular area. It's so critical, and we do in many areas have some time now to continue that planning, so please do that. Definitely want you to take advantage of every hour that you have in that regard. As far as going forward with the Sierra, this fire has already hit many of us incredibly hard. We know there's been structure loss. I know on the force staff, personally, that there's been loss of homes. This one has hit harder and more emotionally, perhaps, all those others already. And it's only been into its first few days now. But again, we're going to get through this together. I have no doubt about that. Given the significance of this incident and its behavior, a request was made, and it was answered, to have not one, but 2 Type 1 teams on this single incident. It's not unprecedented, but it's certainly not common at all. And that just should be a message to all of you, just how seriously both federal leadership and state leadership are taking this incident, that they have committed 2 Type 1 teams to this one incident on one forest. So do know that they understand the challenges, they understand the needs, and while there are many incidents going on right now, this one is certainly have the attention of those that...
well, recently Biden did an interview with Charlemagne.
Have you
he said,
seen folks out on the
if
line
you're thinking about who to vote for, you
in
ain't
fire camp, you'd be incredibly proud.
I agree.
I think it'd be overwhelming.
I don't care that you're
to know
Republican.
what these folks are doing on your behalf.
They're Republicans. Like if Colin Powell had run for president, he got a lot of black votes.
You know, in a smoke-filled
We're not talking
area,
about ideological differences. We're talking about
harm's way for a hard day's
Donald
work,
Trump
doing
is a
everything they can
morally
to
bankrupt,
help all
vile
of us.
human being
So,
who's done what he's done
please
to
do
black
stay
and
engaged.
brown
Please
and
keep
women
questions coming.
and
The
gays
best
and
thing we can do
children,
now is push
all for the
information out
service
to
of
you,
himself.
so you're not left
And
wondering.
if you fuck
we
with
have
him,
many resources
I
now
can't
to
fuck
help
with you.
do that. There's
I
gonna be
can't
regular
think
social
of a
media
black
postings to help people
Trump
informed.
supporter, not
You
black
also do
Republican,
call in,
black Trump
email
supporter
in,
that I think is redeemable in
whatever
any
works
way.
best for you in order to get your
Well, if you're a
concerns
black
addressed.
Republican,
We wanna
aren't
do
you a
that
black
in a timely
Trump
manner.
supporter?
I think that I know black
Thank you for getting
Trump.
through this,
Well, Colin Powell was a
getting through
black
this with us.
Republican. He's
We
not a
will
black
do it.
Trump supporter.
Okay, that's a good example. I'll give you that.
I think you can be a Republican. We're not talking about
Thank
ideological
you. Our
difference. We're talking
next
about the
speaker is Cal Fire
Don't be
District
mad at
Team
me
1
because I still
Instant
support Joe
Commander,
Biden. When
Chief
you let a
Commander.
man grab somebody's pussy, at the same time Joe
All right, good
Biden
evening.
was saying you ain't black.
As Supervisor
This
Gould
president
said,
was refusing to
this
hang
incident is
the
massive
portrait
in
of the
nature.
first black president.
So we have brought in 2 incident management teams. We took command of the incident last night, and then tomorrow morning a federal team from the Great Basin will take a portion of the fire. So the way we're zoning the fire, the federal Great Basin Team 1 will take the north, what we're calling the north branch. That'll be Merced County. So we're separating the fire at the San Joaquin River, and then Fresno County will be the south branch to the which would be the south or the east of the San Joaquin River. So starting tomorrow going forward, we'll have 2 Type 1 incident management teams managing that to make sure that all the communities in both counties are their needs are taken care of. A couple other things that I just want to touch on to not reiterate what the other speakers have talked about. But we have sustained pretty heavy structure loss. We've got damage inspection teams, a couple in place, more coming in. However, the conditions up there are not allowing them to get into many of the areas to get a good survey. As everybody's aware, there's a massive bug kill several years ago, so there's just huge, large trees and stuff all over the road. So normally we try and get our damage inspection started in the first couple days of an incident like this. It's going to take a little bit longer. We're going to have to get in there. We're going to have to move large trees. We're going to have to open up roads once it's safe to do so. We're still in a massive firefight in all of those areas. So I know everybody wants to know the status of their structures. You're just going to have to give us just a little bit of time. We're definitely working on it. It is a priority of ours. It's just that the conditions up there don't allow us to put additional people in harm's way, and really most of our resources so far have been focused on life safety, getting folks out, and trying to protect as much of the infrastructure that's out there as possible. So again, we will have these briefings every evening going forward, and I hope that you'll attend, and again, getting resources in place, and hopefully we'll be able to bring this to a resolution shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker this evening is Great Basin Team 1 Incident Commander Marty Adele.
Good evening. Thank you. I just want to start out with just letting you a little bit know what we are, where we're coming from. We are Great Basin Incident Management Team 1, come from the Great Basin. We've got members from throughout Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, and we appreciate the opportunity to come to California and help out on this assignment. So thank you very much, team. We got here, we arrived on scene last night, approximately in mid-afternoon, about 1500. Got a great briefing from the local National Forest, the counties that this fire is in, and we believe we've got a great starting point. We are able to discuss different topics this morning and throughout today, but not only with the forest that is here, but also obviously the Type 1 team that we'll be working with. And we feel very confident that tomorrow at 0600, when we take over the northern and western portion, or the north zone of this fire, will be very, very solid in our tactics. We are working hand in hand with the California Team 1. We've been working on processes, our sections, regardless of logistics, operations, plans, have all been working together very feverishly to make sure that there are no hiccups, there are no bumps in the road. We'll be working hand in hand, and we are looking very much forward to this assignment. So once again, thank you for the invite, and we're looking forward to a very successful assignment. Thank you.
Thank you. We have received a few questions on Facebook. One in particular I'd like to address to Lieutenant Purcell. Residents are inquiring the status of Shaver Lake and Huntington's Lake.
So regarding the Facebook questions with Huntington and Shaver, we're getting those questions also throughout the night. The basics of Huntington and Shaver is there is still an active fire there. So those areas are going to remain under a evacuation order. I would anticipate that order staying in place for a while, to just be frank with everybody about it. The fire is still burning up there, the fire is still working its way around the lake, and it's going to be evacuated for a long time. You're just going to have to be patient with us. We want to let everybody back in. We understand that they are wanting to make sure that their structures are safe. We just can't allow it until it's safe for you guys to head out. I also want everybody to know that those areas that we have evacuated, we are patrolling throughout the night. Even though there is an active fire up there, we are still sending our deputies back there to check those neighborhoods, to check on those structures, to make sure people aren't going in, breaking into anything. You know, the protection of your properties is very important to us. So that is something that we're taking very seriously. Throughout the night and throughout the day, you know, part of our 150 people that we're deploying a day is to patrol those areas that we are demanding that you evacuate. We understand how hard that is for people. We understand how hard it is to walk away from your properties, and we are taking that seriously. So for evacuations, it's going to remain, and it's going to remain for a little bit. Huntington, Shaver, Big Creek, all of those areas in the High Sierras, it's going to remain, both due to the fire and due to the fact that we can't get people safely in and out. We don't want to allow large groups of people back there to check properties because it's not going to change. You going back there and checking it, it's not going to change, and we don't want to tie up resources with people getting stuck back there. Your guys' safety with this is our #1 concern. We are doing everything we can to protect your property, and as soon as we have information, we will put that stuff out. So again, we're just going to ask for the community to be patient with us. We've had great cooperation with the community, and we're just hoping that that can continue. Thank you.
Thank you. An additional question in regards to the winds and how they're surfacing on the fire. I'd like to direct that to Chief Wink.
So this afternoon, the National Weather Service issued a red flag warning for this area over the fire for low humidities, low overnight humidity recovery, high overnight temperatures, and then the added mono winds. And those so the winds come in off of the desert, and as they're hot, and as they come over the top of the mountains, you know, to our east, it acts like a sponge, and it even squeezes more moisture out of that air as it comes over the top of the mountain. So as it comes over the top of the mountains, it even gets more drier, and when it aligns with all these river drainages, the winds from the east, that is the event that we are very concerned about, and watching all these areas and doing our very best to prepare and take action as much as possible to protect life and property. So that red flag warning issued by the National Weather Service that we've made sure all the responders out here are aware of will continue through at least 11 p.m. tomorrow night, and then they predict we'll go back into a normal weather pattern for this part of the fire area tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. An additional question was to repeat the current acreage and containment. As of 6 p.m. this evening, the current acreage is 135,523 acres at 0% containment. We do appreciate the questions that have been listed in the comment section. We have attempted to answer most of those. We will be monitoring the Facebook page after this briefing to answer additional questions. We will be providing this incident update nightly at 7 p.m. So we ask you to please follow us at the Sierra National Forest Facebook page where this live stream will be available. And also for tips on preparing for a wildfire, please visit readyforwildfire.org. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.